Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the afternoon session of our International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology Education. I'm pretty sure that all our participants have had great lunch. So it's time to have another interesting Saturday afternoon. Let's start by introducing to you guys our plenary speakers. First one is a registered nurse, Philippines and United States of America. He is a registered midwife, licensed professional teacher, doctor of philosophy and education, major in psychology and guidance, West Visayas State University, Iloilo City in the year 2020. Master of Arts in Education, major in educational management, Northwestern Visayas Colleges, Kalibo Aklan 2014. Master of Arts in Nursing, major in community health nursing, Central Philippine University in 2013. Master in Guidance and Counseling units from West Visayas State University, Iloilo City. Professional Teaching Certification, University of the Philippines Open University in 2015. Bachelor of Science in Nursing, cum laude, West Visayas State University in 2007. He is also a member of different professional groups, Philippine Nurses Association, Integrated Midwives Association of the Philippines, National League of Government Nurses, National Research Council of the Philippines, and Sigma Theta Tau International. We are proud to introduce to you our first plenary speaker, Dr. Ryan Michael Flores Odocado. Good afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon, Sir Jimmy. And good afternoon to the participants of this virtual research conference. I would like to say, first of all, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity to share my simple research on social media. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So let's get started. So this is a very simple research that I have conducted in 2018 together with my students, and it's entitled Attitude Toward Responsible Use of Social Media Among Nursing Students in a Public Nursing College. Inputs to social media policy formulation. So, according to the Digital 2019 report, the Filipinos are the #1 users of internet worldwide. Studies have shown also that nursing students are wide consumers of social media. Actually, it's not only the nursing students, but a lot of Filipinos are using social media. So what's responsible use of social media? Responsible use of social media relates to social media literacy, or the competent handling of contents published on social media platforms. So social media offer a lot of benefits since these platforms have no limitation in terms of time, place, and distance. That's why we are able to actually have this virtual conference because of social media and online learning platforms. However, as with any technology, there are also legal and ethical issues associated with online environments and social media use. And I think there is a need to amplify more on social media literacy because of this pandemic, as there was a shift in traditional mode of face-to-face learning instruction into online learning environment. So, well, the context of my study is with nursing students. I believe that this will also be relevant among college students and even high students. So, more than ever, more discussion is needed on social media literacy because of the rapid and increased utilization of online platforms in nursing education. So for the nursing profession, the Code of Ethics for Nurses strongly dictates that nurses should keep confidential information private. On the legal aspect, the Data Privacy Act mandates that the human right of privacy must be secured and protected. As the popularity of social media continue to grow, healthcare professionals, including students, healthcare students, should be mindful of their interaction either face-to-face or online. Previous studies have indicated that issues of professionalism on social media are prevalent, causing a mindful, causing immediate concerns in the medical and allied health professions education. One survey reported that of 293 schools of nursing, this was in the United States, 77% encountered at least a single occurrence of students posting unprofessional content on social media. As future professionals, nursing students are exhibit online professionalisms and cybersecurity. However, the rapid sharing of information on social media exposes nursing students to the risk and danger of unprofessional behaviors like breaches of confidentiality and privacy. While the use of social media by nurses and nursing students have been studied or investigated previously, there is a dearth of study on responsible use of social media among nursing students in the Philippine setting. So the aim of this study was to determine nursing students' attitude toward responsible use of social media and whether or not significant differences existed in the attitude when grouped according to sex, year level, hours of spent daily on social media, which eventually serve as basis for the formulation of social media policy in the college. So how did we do this research? So a descriptive cross-sectional research design was utilized in this study. This study was conducted in a college of nursing, in one college of nursing in Iloilo City, and self-reported data were collected between August to September 2018 during the first semester of academic year 2018 to 2019. So we had this long before the massive rise in use of online learning platforms. So who were the participants? All 298 nursing students participated in this survey. This study involved only, however, 141 first-year and 157 fourth-year nursing students, since these are the only existing year levels in the college where the study was conducted. This was in effect of the transition of the country's educational system into the K-12 program, where the college did not, were not able to admit fourth year fresh graduates, and they continued with their senior high school. So majority of the participants were females, and they used social media on the average for 3 to 6 hours daily. So the data was gathered using the RUMA scale, or the Responsible Use of Social Media Attitude Scale, which is a researcher-made, self-administered questionnaire developed to assess the perception of nursing students toward responsible use of social media. The development of items of the RUSMAS was based on relevant existing literature. The scale was subjected to face and content validation in a panel of 4 experts. A pilot study was conducted among 33 nursing students in another college in the city to ensure clarity of items in the scale. So the scale has a reliability, internal reliability of Cronbach's alpha value of 0.76, which is acceptable. So all statistical computations were carried out using SPSS version 23. I used percentage, mean, standard deviation, t-test, and ANOVA to analyze the data. A p-value of less than 0.05 was significant, or was considered significant. So to ensure ethical conduct of the study, we followed ethical considerations, and written informed consent was obtained from the participants as a manifestation of their voluntary involvement in this research. So what did we find out? What are the results of our study? So this study found that 89.9% of nursing students had positive attitude and 10.1 had an ambivalent attitude toward responsible use of social media with a mean of 4.23. Item analysis of the scale actually, however, underscored key concerns. Like take, for example, while 87.92 agree that clinical cases of patients should not be shared on social media, there is still about 1 out of 10 who did not agree that clinical cases of patients should not be shared on social media. It was also disturbing to note that despite 82.21% agree that confidential information of patients should not be posted on social media, there were still about 2 out of 10 who did not agree on this statement. These are significant to note because nurses have the legal and ethical responsibility to maintain the privacy and confidentiality of their patients. Moreover, not all nursing students in this study seem to agree on the idea that certain behaviors on social media, such as posting while smoking, accepting a friend request from a complete stranger, and using fake names are inappropriate, unacceptable, or unprofessional. It is also disturbing to find out that only a little more than half agreed that it is bad to swear on social media. According to Suarez and colleagues in 2017, this can be due to the idea that except for privacy and confidentiality concerns, consensus on what constitute unprofessional behaviors on social media remain vague and unclear. Excuse me. This is supported in a study where nursing students lack awareness of university acceptable description of responsible use of social media resulted to varying perceptions on how to use it responsibly. Moreover, statistical analysis revealed that there were no significant differences in nursing student attitude toward responsible use of social media according to sex and hours of spent daily on social media. Surprisingly, this study found that a significant difference in the attitude toward responsible use of social media between first-year and fourth-year nursing students, which is in favor of first-year nursing students. So first-year nursing students had a better attitude than fourth-year nursing students. So this is really opposed to the popular belief that as students progress through the university and become familiar to the professional school climate, they become more aware of professionalism. So as neophytes in the nursing program, first-year students in the study may feel more compelled to behave appropriately and follow the rules compared to the senior ones. So it appears that ang mga bata na first year, since they are new to the nursing program, they may feel that they really have to follow the rules. No? Unlike those positions on certain behaviors on social media that could be considered vague and elusive. Like take, for example, those posting on social media while smoking, and it's bad to swear on social media. So this result of the study finds support to in another study that found second semester students having less unethical behavior than other students of higher level. So what is the conclusion of this study? So this study highlights that while nursing students were generally have positive attitude toward social media, there were still a few who were ambivalent about their attitude towards responsible use of social media. So students must be reminded to consider the potential effects of their social media use. Because without proper guidance on how to use social media or to exercise professional conduct on social media, a potential rise in the number of unprofessional behaviors or uncivil behaviors on social media can be anticipated that may steer ethical and legal concerns. Thus, academic nursing institutions should continuously educate students on responsible use on social media and develop approaches and promote social media literacy in nursing education. Likewise, there should be a solid policy that is embedded in the student handbooks of every school on social media use to provide students with guidelines on what are acceptable and not acceptable behaviors on social media. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Doc Ryan, for sharing with us the result of the research. So, whatever your career is, how young you are, it's still important that you should be very responsible when you post something on social media. And also, I guess it's not only in school that it should be inculcated, but probably also at home. Children or the children should be taught by their parents on how to be responsible enough, especially when they use the social media. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Ryan Michael Odekanda, for sharing. Keep safe, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now it's time to introduce the next speaker or presenter. But before that, again, to our attendees, if you have any questions for the presenter, you may ask later in the evaluation form. So I guess the next one is now ready. Our first research presenter for this afternoon is from Guimaras State College, Buena Vista, Guimaras, Philippines. Let's have Dr. Roger Rueda, who's going to talk about digital classroom.
Bakal itu puno. Hindi ra karon. Sa laptop pa dyan.
We're having a little technical problem. To all our attendees, please bear with us. In just a while, we're going to get back to the normal presentation. So again, we do apologize.
My study, which I'm going to present, is Digital Classroom in Guimaras State College. This is for the International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology. So the researchers for this study are Dr. Early M. Martir, Dr. Rome B. Moralista, Dr. Tommy M. Artajo, Dr. Ronilo G. Berondo, Dr. Helen R. Vilbar, and Professor Charles F. Sulan, and yours truly as the presenter. The method was used in Digital Classroom in Guimaras State College. This sought solutions that assess the digital classroom used by the college faculty, considered materials. The assessment faculty this competency, internet connectivity, and accessibility, and the relationship between teachers' competency, internet connectivity, and accessibility were made possible through survey questionnaires. In the level of teachers' competency, the faculty were observed as highly competent. In the basis of internet connectivity, they were observed as very high. Lastly, they were observed as very high in dealing with its internet accessibility. Thus, digital classroom applied by the teacher could bring enough benefits to education in reflecting its specific objectives in accordance with context by discovering new ways in which they can use the internet to improve educational system outcomes. Combined education and technology can build vibrant teaching and learning experiences that are tailored and have profoundly affected the daily living. Developing and transforming the educators and learners are a definition of what the digital revolution is. Evidently, the usage of mobile devices and computers with the help of the internet is expected to continue to increase as technology. In this seamless integration of technology is common tasks such as surfing, reading, and finding directions and answers to such problems easily. Then this computer-based technology has gained access to many aspects of life and industry, knowing its full understanding of how it can be used to promote students' engagement concept and receiving strong attention in higher education due to its association with a number of positive academic outcomes. Recent years have seen a steady increase in the number of schools opting to integrate technology into the classroom. This digital classroom is quickly spreading into many campuses and is increasing in visibility. Examining technology use in the context of daily classroom practices is essential in sustaining the effective digital conversion of classrooms. In many cases, the outcome is a lesson format which remains traditional in style with the implementation of a one-to-one computing and the use of an electronic whiteboard instead of a chalkboard. However, there are college students often referred to as the digital generation use an impressive assortment of technological tools in a wide variety of ways. However, the findings reported here suggest that students prefer more traditional instructional technology for effective engagement and learning. Meanwhile, in integrating technology into the classroom, the teachers prepare lessons that use technology in authentic and meaningful situations. Teachers should use technology in a way to support curriculum. Technology should help the teacher in creating a cooperative learning environment and help the teacher transition from the role of facilitator to that of a learner. The teacher himself learns as well as helping the students to learn. Therefore, when teachers are trying to combine technology into their classroom lessons, they can demonstrate the basic concepts and then ask the students to work with a computer or other technology. Finally, both teachers and students can take the advantage of using technology if teachers know how to integrate it successfully into the curriculum. In some research, the belief that technology will hinder students' learning has been discarded as long as students are taught to use it as a tool in their learning. By proliferating and integrating e-learning technology in the SUZ education system, the transformation of teaching and learning process increases the academic achievements of college students. While e-learning environment in the Philippines is still in its embryonic stage, it's already adapted and still spearheaded by prominent universities such as University of the Philippines for their UP Open University, UPOU, University of Santa Tomas for their e-learning access program, De La Salle University for their integration of Sakai educational software platform, and other academic institutions that offer some form of online courses. The combination of the internet and the multimedia creates possibility that digital classrooms address many forms of distance learning, providing the opportunity for learners to develop both academic skills and 21st century skills has created a learning environment by providing the opportunity for learners to develop both academic skills and 21st century skills has created a learning environment. The digital classroom is conducive for all students by expanding the classroom beyond the four walls into the community. Students are engaged in attempting tasks that have a connection to the real world. In addition, the digital classroom involves all partners of the learning community, such as teachers, students, parents, and higher education experts. This kind of learning is a student-centered teaching method that uses online learning resources to facilitate information sharing outside constraints of time and place among a network of people. The objective of this study aimed to assess the digital classroom used by the college faculty of Guimaras State College, considered as new learning instructional materials during the year 2020. Specifically, it sought to answer the following objectives, or what is assessment of faculty in using the digital classrooms in terms of teachers' competency, internet connectivity, and accessibility, and the relationship between teachers' competency, internet connectivity, and accessibility. The study used quantitative research design. Specifically, it followed a survey method regarding the usage of digital classroom in Guimaras State College. The sampling and the data collection were employed, and the target population in this research was the college faculty exposed in digital type classroom setting. 30 survey questions were administered on the 60 target samples and answered based on the learning management system used by the schools. The SPSS software helped the researchers to determine the characteristics of the respondents. Information about the goodness of the SPSS software helped the researchers to determine the characteristics of the respondents, information about the goodness of fit model, and relationship among the variable reliability, factor analysis, path model creation, etc. Go to results and discussion. Graph 1. The results showed that the faculty were highly competent with a min of 4.32, saying that there is a proper orientation to e-classroom facilities, that is, example, computers, projection systems, lecture capture systems, smart boards, etc. Now let's get to graph 1. The results show that the faculty were highly competent with a mean of 4.32, saying that there is a proper orientation to e-classroom facilities. Example, computers, projection systems, lecture capture systems, smart boards, etc. And partly competent with a mean of 4.10 when dealing to the students can exercise cheating or plagiarizing using technology. Chen and Chai 2010 may support the results as a virtual classroom not only has the function to replace a traditional classroom but also has less expense related to transportation, building new facilities, or the maintenance or repair of existing facilities. Regarding cheating and plagiarism, Schaffer 2013 affirmed that this education must start at the very beginning with citations. Even though today's collaborative learning environment can make it difficult to determine whether students are wrongly cribbing off one another, nobody is arguing against the need to cite sources. Now let's get to graph 2, results in the internet connectivity in using digital classroom. So the graph proved that the faculty are very high with a min of 4.25, that in assessing the internet connectivity, digital image or video production are helpful for learning, and online programs or websites teach a lot about topics, while it was observed that the faculty were very low with a min of 3.33, that the connection to school's network in the internet is consistently fast and reliable. Norton and Hathaway 2010 demonstrated positive content learning outcomes as measured by objective tests, rubrics, and anecdotal evidence. Integrating video production facilitated connections to content, student motivation and engagement, the use of alternative assessment, and shifts in teacher identity. Challenges faced by teachers included issues related to equipment, logistics, and time. Now let's get to graph 3, results in the internet accessibility in using digital classroom. The graph shows results about the internet accessibility, saying that the faculty were very high with 4.30 as noticed to item number 6 and 9. Teachers in the university can use and integrate more technology in their teaching, and teachers can use technology to offer feedback on their assignments. Example, email me with comments, make notes, comments in digital documents, while item number 2 revealed that the faculty were high with a min of 4.30 in terms of internet accessibility, suggesting the use of tablets, laptops in class can improve students' engagement with the content and class. According to Torogari and Rodhombo, June 2020, technology is now considered a critical tool in enhancing teaching and learning in universities, owing to the fact that the ubiquitous nature of technology now allows students to access education from anywhere, at any time, at their own pace. Thus, Fisher 2015 disagrees, as he believed we may find ourselves on the fence, understanding that some students prefer to type their notes, but when wondering whether students are paying attention and staying engaged, and whether their laptop use may be distracting others. For graph 4, and graph 4 is the mean of teachers' competency, internet connectivity, in internet accessibility. It was found out that the faculty are highly competent with regards to the application of digital classroom. The internet connectivity of faculty in dealing to digital classroom, the internet connectivity of the faculty in dealing with the internet connectivity of faculty in dealing with digital classroom is high. It means that maybe some of them considered areas in terms of internet connection at school and at home. Lastly, they are considered very high when talking about their accessibility on the internet. Lastly, they are considered very high when talking about their accessibility on the internet. Access to the internet is fundamental to achieving this vision for the future. It can improve the quality of education in many ways. It opens doorways to a wealth of information, knowledge, and educational resources, for learning increasing opportunities for learning in and beyond the classroom. Teachers use online materials to prepare lessons and students to extend their range of learning. Interactive teaching methods supported by the internet enable teachers to give more attention to individual students' need. Interactive teaching methods supported by the internet enable teachers to give more attention to individual students' needs and support shared learning. This can help to rectify inequalities in education experienced by girls and women. Access to the internet helps educational administrators to reduce the costs and improve the quality of schools and colleges. Table 1. Results for the correlation of teachers' competency, internet connectivity, and internet accessibility using person. The result show that there is a strong relationship between variables, teachers' competency, internet connectivity, and internet accessibility in using digital classroom. This entails that applying digital classroom may create another dimension in teaching students. The digital era is marked by the existence of digital technology. The dominant technology in this era is internet technology, as stated by ANI 2018. Internet is an integral part of life. The internet technology contains positive and negative sides. Digital classrooms may improve IT or information management skills in general. In education, advances in digital technologies can alter tools available to teachers and students. Through this research, it can also be concluded that the internet has impact on teachers' competence as long as its connectivity and accessibility are prioritized in order to perform classes very well. Then the institution can conduct thorough seminars and trainings. Then the institution can conduct thorough seminars or trainings related to digital classroom excelling on its concepts. Essentially, it may develop multi-teaching strategy in which teachers' competency, internet connectivity, and internet accessibility create strong relationship in delivering classroom instruction among teachers.
So again, thank you very much, Dr. Roger B. Rueda, for inspiring all of us how important digital classroom is. And it all started also in your school, so it can also be applied to other schools as well. Now, let me introduce the next speaker or presenter from Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College, Concepcion, Iloilo, Philippines. Here's the next one. We have Dr. Joey S. De La Cruz.
Good day to each and everyone, especially to our participants via Zoom and to all other media platforms for this International Research Conference. Good day. I am Dr. Joey Singson De La Cruz. I graduated my doctorate in philosophy, major in development administration at Philippine Christian University. And presently, I am taking up my second master's degree program Guimaras State College, taking up Master in Education, major in Social Science. I will be presenting my study entitled Psychosocial Atmosphere and Emotional Intelligence among local government unit personnel in the municipality of Sara, province of Iloilo, Philippines. This study was conducted way back in the year 2019 when I was still connected in the local government unit of Sara. For a brief history about my employment, I had been in a private company, an electric distribution utility for 9 years, and after that I transferred to local government unit of Sara as municipal budget officer. Now, the working environment in a private institution like electricity is entirely different from, of course, a government service. When I entered the government service, I observed some factors because politics is always there in a local government unit. So our leaders usually change every 3 years during election. So we, as of course appointed officials and employees of a local government unit, should always be motivated in order to pursue our task in the name of public service. Now, as part of the local government unit, I have of course to contribute and of course to recommend to our leaders what would be the motivational factors that would affect the performance of our employees. That is why I conducted this study. So, there is an emerging body of research across various fields ascertaining that the atmosphere in the workplace constitutes a necessary aspect of emotional intelligence of the employees in the office setup. That was the statement of Sontag in the year 2013. A broad quantity of discussion has signified that psychosocial factors at work present to a vast range of emotional intelligence of our workers. Now, the level of psychosocial atmosphere and emotional intelligence among the local government personnel in the municipality of Sara in the province of Iloilo, Philippines, as it has been of course affected psychosocial elements, effort, commitment, effort toward social, interactional, and emotional awareness, emotional management, motivating oneself, the empathy, and social skills were ascertained. This study aimed to determine the psychosocial atmosphere and emotional intelligence among the local government personnel in the municipality of Sara, Iloilo, Philippines in the year 2018 and 2019. Specifically, this study sought to answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the level of psychosocial atmosphere of local government personnel in terms of, number 1, effort, reward, overcommitment, effort-reward ratio, procedural, and of course, interactional. Number 2, is there significant difference in the level of psychosocial atmosphere of the local government personnel? To what level is the emotional intelligence of local government personnel in terms of emotional awareness, emotional management, motivating oneself, empathy, and social skill? Number 3, is there significant difference in the level of emotional intelligence of the local government personnel? Is there a significant relationship between local government personnel psychosocial atmosphere and emotional intelligence? Let me now discuss to you the methodology An exclusion criterion as the entire population of the local government unit personnel in the municipality of Sara. The respondents were identified and data and employee perception of psychosocial atmosphere and emotional intelligence gathered through survey was determined using standardized scale. Survey questions were distributed to the 145 employees of that constitute the entire population of the personnel in the municipal hall of the local government unit of Sara. The respondents were tasked to determine their level of psychosocial atmosphere in terms of 6 psychosocial atmosphere elements: effort, reward, overcommitment, effort-reward ratio, procedural, and interactional, using a standardized 5-point scale with 1.0 to 1.50 as poor, 1.51 to 2.50 as fair, 2.51 to 3.50 as high, 3.51 to 4.50 as very high, and 4.51 to 5.0 as excellent. The variance of the mean scores of these factors was determined to identify which factors had the greatest and the least impact on their level of job motivation. The level of their emotional intelligence and the 5 different factors: emotional awareness, emotional management, motivating oneself, empathy, and social skills were also rated on the same scale. The variance of their mean scores was also determined to identify which factors had the greatest and the least impact on their psychosocial atmosphere. Statistical analysis was carried out using one way of social atmosphere, and emotional intelligence was further analyzed using the person correlation test. Let me now show you the results and the discussion of my study. The questionnaire gathered the perceived level of psychosocial atmosphere of the local government unit personnel from the 6 psychosocial elements as certain in this study. The results presented in Table 1 show that the respondents perceived a very high level of psychosocial atmosphere from effort, reward, overcommitment, job promotion, procedural justice, and interactional justice. Figure 1 reveals that among the elements assessed, overcommitment and job promotion gave the personnel in the local government unit of Sara the highest level of psychosocial atmosphere. The least element to affect their psychosocial atmosphere was effort. It can also be observed that the mean score have a very close results and have, of course, low standard deviation from each other. Despite of the rankings, Table 2 shows that the mean scores of all the elements had no significant difference from each other. So this implies that the local government unit personnel perceive that they practice at the same extent by effort, reward, overcommitment, job promotion, procedural justice, and international justice. These factors may also work jointly to create a positive psychosocial atmosphere. The response of the local government unit to the 4 elements that influence their emotional intelligence was also gathered. Now, the results show that the factors in the local government unit in Sara, such as emotional awareness, emotional management, empathy, social skill, and motivating oneself gave the very high intelligence of the personnel, as can be seen in Table 3. As Table 3 indicates, results show that emotional intelligence in all dimensions came in a very high level degree. Now, the researcher can use this very high level for the local government unit personnel to a number of reasons, including, as cited by Goldman 1998, about the relationship between intelligence, emotional, and many factors of which may be expressive language among students and verbal expression, and show their feelings for others, as in Figure 2. This result concurred with Quality 2007 study which showed that emotional intelligence among workplace was excellent, while disagree and outstrip with Al-Otabi 2010 and 77 2009 investigation, which found that emotional intelligence was average. On the other hand, emotional management and emotional awareness gave the least satisfaction, maybe due to some personal struggle that they carry from home. We cannot deny that one. This result contradicted with the conclusion drawn out by the Emotional Intelligence 2010 that emotional intelligence involves necessarily of a combination of competences which allow a person to be aware of, to understand, and to be in control of his own emotions. Results showed that there was a low standard deviation among the responses of the local government unit personnel. Table 4 showed that there was no significant difference on the analysis of variance on the level of emotional intelligence of the respondents. Now, so this implies that the emotional intelligence in terms of emotional awareness, motivating oneself, empathy, and social skill all had the equal level of responses and the same effect on the emotional intelligence of the local government unit and must have a correlation with each other. Now, so this further examined the relationship between psychosocial atmosphere and emotional intelligence. So that's the table 5. Relationships are associated with a number of positive relationship as revealed in the table. This channel that when psychosocial atmosphere is high, the emotional intelligence is also high. This signifies that advancing the psychosocial atmosphere of the personnel may also advance their emotional intelligence, or advancing their emotional intelligence may also advance their psychosocial atmosphere. Now, based on the results and by discussion, let me now proceed with my conclusion as well as the recommendation. Local government unit personnel discerned a very high level of psychosocial atmosphere from the psychosocial elements. Overcommitment element gave the highest level of psychosocial atmosphere, while efforts elements gave the least atmosphere. But there was no significant difference among the levels of psychosocial atmosphere. Now, the emotional intelligence factors gave a very high level to the personnel of LGU Sara. Motivating oneself gave the highest level of intelligence, while emotional management gave the lowest level of intelligence, though there was no significant difference established. there was a positive correlation between psychosocial atmosphere and emotional intelligence. Now, based on what has been reached from this study, as the researcher, it is highly recommended for further studies to assess the respondents, and it will be gathered and further acumen for the scores be further investigated. Okay, now, so again, this study has been conducted while I was still connected in a local government unit. So after my employment in LGU, I transferred to a private company as one of the consultants, and right now in a state college. Again, as the researcher, I do hope that this recommendation, this study could help the local government unit as their basis, of course, to determine the psychosocial atmosphere of their employees. And this study has been also published in an international journal to, of course, to be a reference for other researchers in their related studies. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, that ends my presentation, and once again, good day to everyone.
So again, thank you very much, Dr. Joey S. De La Cruz. That's really so inspiring. It's really important, especially when somebody gets into the workplace already. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Joey S. De La Cruz. We're down to our next presenter. From Guimaras State College, Buena Vista Guimaras, Philippines, our next presenter who's going to talk about maintenance improvement and supervision. It's a kind of evaluation study. Here's Dr. Tommy M. Artajo.
Hello everyone. As part of the organization and faculty of Guimaras State College, I'm very particular on how the annexes of our college are maintained, improved, and supervised. That's why we have this research entitled Maintenance, Improvement, and Supervision of Annex Campuses, an Evaluative Study. The proponents of this study are Dr. Early Martir, Dr. Romy Moralista, Dr. Roger Rueda, Dr. Onelo Berondo, Dr. Helen R. Velbar, Professor Charlie Zolan, and yours truly as presenter. The abstract of this study, evaluating maintenance, improvement, and supervision of Annex Campus, helps the institution to cater more amidst the needs on education. A descriptive evaluative research was applied focusing on the level of maintenance, improvement, and the supervising activities of top-level management of Annex Campuses, and the maintenance, improvement, and the supervising activities of top-level management of Annex Campuses are significantly related, with a total enumeration of 21 non-faculty working in Guimaras State College were the respondents of the study. The answered questionnaire is divided into three. Part 1, about the maintenance of Annex Campus. Part 2, improvement of Annex Campus. And Part 3, supervision of Annex Campus. The result of the study believe that of the respondents were strongly agreed on the level of management and maintenance of the school, highly satisfactory in the level of improvement, and in supervision it indicated as always. However, the maintenance has negatively related compared to improvement, while it has strong positively relation compared to its level of supervision. Lastly, improvement has strong positively related to supervision. In practice of quality tertiary education system, associated concepts are usually defined as outputs outcomes, process, or inputs. The higher education represents a critical factor in innovation and human capital development and plays a central role in the success and sustainability of the state colleges and universities in the country. It is a key player in the educational and integral formation of professionally competent, service-oriented, principled, and productive citizens. It has a threefold function of teaching, research, and extension services. Through these, it becomes a prime mover to the nation, especially to the socio-economic growth and sustainable development. The CHED is also cognizant of its consistent, committed service through quality education, research, and extension work. It is responsible for formulating and implementing policies, plans, and programs for the development and efficient operation of the system of higher education in the country. In order to be better, such prepare such development plan that includes their annex campuses to become as proficient, versatile, and productive SUK institution in 21st century. Then, it is needed to implement various programs, policies in such a way that will measure the organizational performance and efficiency is an essential part of the reform for the general welfare of all annex campuses as well as its main campus. By measuring efficiency, it is possible to evaluate the performance of these annex campuses by comparing it with the standard ability aligned to its VGMO, or the vision, goal, mission, and objectives of the college. And that addresses the efficiency and productivity performance of state universities and colleges using a more accurate and reliable approach, recognizing that the HEIs will eventually undergo accreditation, serves as means of quantifying the HEI's delivery of quality education, conducive learning environment, and its other areas, because it serves as a measuring rod of how efficient and effective an institution is in the delivery of its services to its clientele. The HEIs under their jurisdiction are able to meet these changes through updated report on maintenance, improvements, and supervisory, assuring it reaches the requirement of this accreditation survey. Although CHED monitors and supervises the quality of education of private HEIs, the management of private institutions is independent, especially those top HEIs which are recognized as autonomous, where the government does not intervene. For other HEIs, the government instructs them to improve the quality of education and school facilities in its entire vicinity, including other campuses. Therefore, knowing the opinions and expectations about the supervisory practices, development in maintenance, and constant improvement is important through implementing successful evaluation. The future of any HEIs depends heavily on its administration's capability. Overall, the strategic actions to attain organizational goals, specifically in its annexes, is different models produce different practices. The continually changing and the need for both leadership and management today is more important, serious, and challenging. It is grappled by different problems and pressures to address the needs of its campuses. Improving teaching is a complex process in which many elements should interact. Schools need to support the development of networks as well as participation in trainings, since informal peer support and collaboration are effective means of knowledge sharing and learning. Institutional education administrators must demonstrate that each of its campuses is actively involved in quality assurance to meet program requirements, institutional requirements, and learner milestone. Also, continuing professional development, teachers benefit from opportunities to use. As for SUCS, it is observed that the number of main campuses has not increased significantly, but satellite campuses have grown. As long as it is improved by the governing board of the institution, satellite campuses can be set up as a consequence of this rapid increase in campuses. There is some duplication of disciplines in a region, and some of the satellite campuses are allocated only a small budget. Today, HCIs are more diversified and are closer to a patchwork model attended by larger segments of the population. Thus, it is characterized by massive expansion and wider participation, together with the emergence of new developments, more diverse profiles of HCIs, programs under students, broader adoption, and more integrated use of communications and educational technologies. Greater internationalization, competition, and signaling mechanisms, growing pressures on cost, and new forms of financing, as well as new models and roles of governance, including increasing emphasis on performance, quality, and accountability. Supervision is a constant process that aims at improving teaching by providing needed services to the teachers. The objective of this study is to aim to evaluate the maintenance, improvement, and to supervising activities of top-level management of annex campuses, Guimaras State College, during the year 2020. Specifically, so to answer the following objectives: to what level is the maintenance, improvement, and the supervising activities of top-level management of annex campuses, and the maintenance, improvement, and to supervising activities of top-level management of annex campuses are significantly related. This study was anchored to descriptive evaluative research, since the result of the study will assess the performance of each annex campus. The total enumeration of 21 non-faculty working in Guimaras State College were the respondents of the study. According to Arifin 2012, evaluation research is a research that has an aim to provide information for decision maker or policy maker related to a power or strength of a program, since from its effectiveness, cost, device, etc., descriptive research is the most common method of obtaining information with the use of questionnaire, unstructured interview, and observation, specifically through evaluative design, and utilize questionnaire checklist as the main tool to gather the needed data of the study. The researcher provided questionnaire to its respondents. The said questionnaire was divided into three. Part 1 was about the maintenance of annex campus, Part 2, the improvement of annex campus, and Part 3 focused on the supervision of annex campus. The letter of intent was forwarded to the administration for permitting the researchers administered the research-made questionnaire about the level of maintenance, improvement, supervisions of Guimaras State College annex campuses after explaining the objectives of the study and instruction thereon. Thereafter, the data that will be gathered are subjected to statistical analysis. On graph 1, this is actually the results on the level maintenance and school annex campus. We have seen here the data on how this being conducted. It is observed that item number 11 has highest mean of 4.57 and believe that most of the respondents were strongly agree. Means that Annex Campus provides students areas where they can lend time to do their school works and others while most of them are disagree. On item number 10, obtaining its mean 3.33, it seems that all faculty members have the teaching and learning experiences that take place outside of the confines of the classrooms. Walls have a range of benefits for both students and instructors. Then, the teacher's room, also known as the staff room or faculty lounge, is one of the most important rooms for educators. The teacher's room is the place where staff can relax before or after classes, eat lunch, grab coffee, spend recess, consult with colleagues, plan the lessons, discuss educational issues, and socialize, according to Wagner 2020. On graph 2, this is actually the results on the level of improvement in school annex campus. So the graph above simply showed that the level of improvement in numbers 3, 9, and 13 are highly satisfactory with a mean of 4.29, saying that there is an improvement through having well-accommodating manner and well-organized library of the campus, fast and easy access to Annex Campus, public Wi-Fi, or Wi-Fi to all and online access to view grades and enrollment. However, item number 2 was showed as satisfactory with a mean of 3.81, where most of the respondents answered about the cleanliness of restrooms, hallways, and classrooms. Conaway et al. 2017 asserted that improving these contributes to student success that has become the most significant way that institutions and their constituent units demonstrate value to funding and governance boards. These outcomes often relate to objective indicators of learning, which include assignment, completion, semester, grades, and graduation rates. On graph 3, results on the level of supervision in school annex campus. In regards to the supervision to annex campuses, it was notices that item numbers 12 and 13 were always supervised with a mean of 4.33, explaining that the annex campus encouraged every department have a monthly meeting to discuss important agenda and monitor student performance to any professional examination recognized by Professional Regulatory Commission. Then, item numbers 14 and 20 were supervised very often with a mean of 3.86, explaining that the school campus emphasizes the development of information literacy skills and research forum. Is considered as one of the priority of the school campus. For Harris 2017, it is a guiding principle for the redesign able to relate to a similar engagement process and would also feel honored. A design to guide an organizational change process based on engaging meetings. And Chuho 2017 cited that this is a response to the call for academic excellence. Then the paper of Addison and Mears 2013 synthesized perspectives on information literacy, a framework for conceptual understanding. On graph 3, the results on the level of maintenance, improvement, and supervision in school annex campus is presented according to the respondents. They are agree with a mean of 4.02 on the maintenance of annex campus. In terms of improvement, they considered it as satisfactory with a mean of 4.00. Then in regards to its supervision, they conducted it very often with a mean of 4.10, it helped to understand the study of Bosset 2014 that endeavor of improvement remain inefficient because of the lack of strategic plans and priorities. I have here a table, which is the result for the correlation of maintenance, improvement, and supervision using Pearson. Maintenance of annex campus is improvement shows a high negative correlation, which is 0.013, than supervision of annex campus, which is highly positive correlation of negative 678. In between the improvement and supervision of school annex, they were noticed as highly positive correlated of 0.561. Therefore, the institution may exert effort in order to create interventions in the improvement of the school annex. The improvement of the school building is a daily activity of the institution and an important factor in the delivery of education. Because of these findings, we come up into a conclusion and recommendation. In evaluating the maintenance, improvement, and to supervising activities of top-level management of annex campuses in Guimaras State College, it may observe that the institution implements its program properly by providing students a venue to continue their tertiary education, enjoying privileges offered by school, and as well as promoting teacher-student friendly environment. However, the annex campuses might examine their level of improvement based on its development plan prepared by the institution. With regards to its supervision, it is noticeable on how the school performs in order to achieve their indicated vision, mission, goals, and objectives. As observed by the researchers, they may recommend that the school may classify their faculty by providing them designated offices accommodating their needs and school's maintenance in which they may perform their duties well. Putting auditorium, gyms, or mini theater as a venue for students' activities may be beneficial to schools' improvement, improve cleanliness, and having fast and easy access to annex campus, public Wi-Fi, or Wi-Fi to all were noticed along the study conducted. Lastly, emphasizing the importance of information, literacy skills, and research forum among students and faculty, it might be necessary to increase literacy rate and level of expertise of all faculty in regards to the field of research. This is all. Thank you and goodbye. Hello everyone. As part of the conversation,
Thank you very much, Dr. Tommy M. Arcajo. It's nice to hear the results of the research regarding extension campuses. So let's have a little break. We're down with three research presenters. We still have three more. And later on, we're going to have one plenary speaker as well. For the meantime, let's have a little break. So we're going to have a little chit chat, a little talk, so that everybody would release a little tension. So we're going to have some of our attendees here to talk with. I'd like to call Elvi Halyara. Good afternoon, Elvi Halyara. I guess just hello, Elvi. Okay, I guess she's in. Hi, I'm Elvi. Hello, Ma'am Elvie. Everybody is looking forward to seeing you, hearing you as well. So these are randomly selected. Says relax. We're gonna have a little talk. This is not really serious at all. So can we start with Mom Elvie Haliara again? Is she in? And to the rest of the attendees, just keep your mood planted. Or if she's not around, can we have Michelle Amadeo? There are around 246 participants. We've got 244 participants. I would probably randomly choose any from them. Can we have Antonio Pendergosa join us and have a little talk, a little chit chat?
Hi, sir.
Hello, Sir Antonio. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Yes, hi. God, I'm
Okay.
surprised you called me.
Yes, actually, this has been randomly chosen. So where are you now? Are you in the library?
No, I'm in the bookstore. I'm browsing over books while listening to the discussions of our speakers.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good. So that means that International Virtual Research Conference can be done anywhere, not just in your personal room, but even in the library. So,
Indeed,
are
sir.
you into the academe or what?
I am taking my
Yes.
master's at under Ma'am Panes at Pasi
Okay.
Center. I'm teaching at senior high school here at Dueñas. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm here trying to learn new things in this international seminar. Thank you so much for this
That's very good.
opportunity.
Okay. It's good that you're also keeping yourself safe. Now you're wearing mask while listening to the
Yeah.
International Virtual Research
Yeah,
Conference, right?
I do. There are a lot of people here at the bookstore. Yeah.
Okay. What made you join the International Virtual Research Conference? What are your personal reasons?
Well, first thing, it's selfish. It's international. It is an international seminar, so it's a big points on my promotional and on promotional opportunities. But the most important thing is I love to learn new things, be exposed to other speakers from other countries, and be able to learn new ideas being generated by this research. And just by talking to people with the same mindset, it gives me another motivation to do my work better and be better at my work.
Very good.
Thank
I
you.
guess this is really very helpful to everybody joining this one.
Yeah.
And one final question. You said you're teaching senior high school, right? Are you also teaching them research or what?
Yeah. No, I'm handling philosophy and contemporary arts and grammar, English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
But this research conference is very good. I mean, the one that was presented by Sir Joey, I think it was very impressive, and it caught my attention about this emotional health of employees, and it's really good. I mean, this is a very timely and relevant activity for all of us, even during this pandemic.
exactly.
Thank you so much.
And I, sir, Antonio, thank you very much. Keep safe.
It's
And
Antonino, actually.
enjoy
It's
the rest of the
Antonino.
research. No, we still
Yeah,
have
thank you.
we still have another day tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
There you have it. We've just heard one of our participants. He is in the library searching for books. At the same time, he's also listening to the International Virtual Research. So he's doing two things at the same time. Again, thank you very much, Sir Antonio Pedregosa. Do we have any other participants who we can probably talk to? Okay, that's good. Anyway, again, to the rest of the participants, maybe later on I'm gonna be back to you and you'll be randomly chosen. So just relax and keep your mood planted. Let's move on to the next speaker or researcher that we have. So we're down to our research presenter from Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College, Concepcion, Iloilo, Philippines. Our next presenter is Eduardo B. Longley Jr., who's going to talk about something related to mathematics.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to this International Virtual Research Conference on Green Technology Education. I am Eduardo P. Longley Jr., Assistant Professor 4 of NEPSI Concepcion Campus, your presenter. And together with me is my co-researcher, Dr. Marin Laguda, Dr. Solim Ramadi, and Professor Ram Padron. Our study is entitled Tracer Study of NEPSI Concepcion Campus BSED Mathematics Graduate from 2008 to 2018.
Background of the study. A tracer study is an endeavor to trace graduates of higher education institutes. Graduate surveys, alumni researches, graduate career tracking, or follow-up study are other terms for it. Assessing graduate students is one of the most important activities. It has a very direct and powerful impact in learning actions of the students, and if they really reach the course's goal, and that is to end up employed according to their course. The study was conducted to assess the Bachelor of Secondary Education or BSED Mathematics graduates of Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College Concepcion Campus from 2008 to 2018. The focus of the study emphasized to their personal and job employment profile and considering their demographic characteristics in terms of their employment status. Statement of the problem. First, what is the demographic profile of NEPSI Concepcion Campus BSED Mathematics graduate for the past 10 years in terms of the following? A. Age. B. Sex. C. Civil status. D. Eligibilities. And E. Address or residence. Second, what is the status of employment of NEPSI Concepcion Campus BSED Mathematics graduates for the past 10 years when categorized in terms of A. Employment status. B. Nature of employment. C. Place of employment. And D. Monthly income. For the methodology, we utilized the survey research design, and our respondents were the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in Mathematics graduates of NEPSI Concepcion Campus from 2008 to 2018. For our research instrument, we applied the standardized checklist designed by the research office of the college. And our statistical tools were frequency count, percentage, and mean averages. For the result of the respondents according to their age, many or 43.26% of them belong to ages 21 to 25 years old, and 59 or 41.85% belong to 26 to 30 years old. When it comes to their sex, the record shows that most of them were female respondents. According to their civil status, many or 55.73% of them were married, while 37.59% were single. For their eligibilities, the data shows that majority or 69.5% of the respondents were non-passers and non-takers. When it comes to their address, majority or 71.63% of the respondents were residing in mainland barangays. For their employment status, few or 7.09% of the respondents were unemployed, while 61.7% were employed. When it comes to the nature of employment, out of 61.7% who were employed, 39.71% of the respondents worked in the non-academe, while 21.99% in the academe. For their place of employment, majority or 91.6% of the respondents were based in the Visayas region. And for their monthly income, majority or 64.12% of the respondents were average earners. For the findings of the study, first, majority of the respondents were females with an age bracket ranging from 22 to 35 years old. Most of them were married, non-passers, non-takers, and they were residing in mainland barangays of Concepcion. Second, the status of employment of the respondents was mostly employed in the non-academic institutions. They preferred to work in private agencies rather than in government agencies. Thus, majority of them were self-employed. Most of them were working in the Visayas with an average monthly income. For the conclusion, based on the findings of the study, the researcher concluded that majority of the BSED mathematics graduates were non-takers and non-passers in career or any licensure examination, which leads them to self-employed because of their non-eligible status. Those who were working in an academe receives only an average monthly income. For the recommendations, first, the government, especially the Commission on Higher Education or the CHED, and the Professional Regulation Commission or the PRC should pursue all the graduates to take professional examinations for them to be able to land to an eligible type of job and to heighten its mandate to regulate and supervise the practice of professionals who constitute the highly skilled manpower of the country, and for the Department of Labor and Employment or the DOLE in strengthening their mandates and coordination to their response to critical issues in Philippine employment and job markets. Second, the Northern Iloilo Polytechnic State College Concepcion Campus, Concepcion, Iloilo, administrative officials will organize seminars, symposiums, lectures, and trainings to the college graduating students with focus on how to find jobs after graduation. And lastly, the BSED Mathematics graduates should aim for reaching higher job position in their respective jobs by applying their skills and talents learned in their baccalaureate degree and lead in any endeavor for them to be able to be honored that they are competing in the world of professionals with excellence. Thank you very much for your listening. Madamo ugid nga salamat.
So again, thank you very much, Sir Eduardo B. Longley Jr. Now we're down to the next research presenter. I personally love chicken and I personally love eggs as well. And we know that these days there's been an increase in consumption of these fast food elements. The next research presenter is going to talk about this one. We're going to talk about chicken, or probably something to add for the growth of chicken. Here is Dr. Jobert Dayan C. Ramos from Guimaras State College, our next presenter.
Hello everybody, good day to all and have an auspicious time. The title of this study is Dried Tuba-Tuba Leaves as Antioxidant and Antibacterial Chicken Feed Additive. The members of the group are the following: Dr. Tammy Artajo, Dr. Renilo G. Birondo, Dr. Roger Rueda, and yours truly, Jobert Dane Ramos. The researchers utilized tuba-tuba leaves as alternative feed additive to broiler chicken with commercial feed as the controlled setup. The broiler chickens were divided into 4 setups with 3 variables each. They were given different feed mixtures with the same amount of 200 ml. Treatment A with 25% tuba-tuba leaves and 75% commercial feeds. Treatment B with 50% tuba-tuba leaves and 50% commercial feeds. Treatment C with 75% tuba-tuba leaves and 25% commercial feeds. And the controlled setup with 100% commercial feeds. On the last day of the experiment, the mean of the broiler chicken's weight in the different setups were recorded. 966, 0.67 for the controlled setup, 1,350 grams for treatment A, 1,433 grams for treatment B, and 1,700 grams for treatment C. The treatment C feed mixture with 75% tuba-tuba leaves and 25% commercial feeds shows the highest result on the weight of broiler chicken. Therefore, as you increase the proportion of the tuba-tuba leaves, the weight of the chicken, or the average weight of the chicken, also increase. So tuba-tuba leaves, or what we know as Jatropha gossypifolia leaves, could be a promising additive for broiler chicken feeds because of its phytochemical content, potent radical scavenging activity, and antibacterial activity against the pathogens Escherichia coli and Vibrio. This result could provide an environment-friendly, economically feasible, and effective feed for broiler chicken. Why environment-friendly? Because you are using natural plants and you are actually lowering the carbon footprints. Economically feasible because you reduce the cost of the feeds by collecting only natural plants, and effective in the sense that you see that the weight increase is really apparent. From the results of the study, the researcher concluded that dried tuba-tuba leaves are very good feed additive. The macronutrient present in the dried leaves provide much needed sustenance to the young birds. Its high protein content nourishes the muscles and organs. Crude fats and carbohydrates provide needed energy for movement, maintenance of body heat, and metabolism of organs. Calcium, potassium, iron, and other minerals maintain the normal rate of catabolism and anabolism. Phytochemicals provide effective protection against harmful microorganisms and oxidizing agents. Mortality and infection rates are thus reduced. So in the process, you are producing quite healthy chicken, and they are less sickly, and therefore they could grow better than those chicken that are sick. So methodology. So this represents the research design, subject of the study, procedure of chicken feed preparation, sampling technique, data gathering instrument, data gathering procedure, and statistical tools to be used. So for the research design, it is an experimental research design. Before and after the experiment, the chicken or the chicks were actually weighed using a scale. So experimental design in this study will be used to describe the effects of the dried tuba-tuba leaves as chicken feed additive. So the subjects of the study. The subjects of the study were 12 broiler chicken divided into groups of 3s. These broilers were brought as chicks when they were 7-day-old, weighing about 100 grams. Varying proportion of dried tuba-tuba leaves was mixed with commercial feed and were given to the subjects. Pure commercial feed was given to the controlled group. The birds were weighed on the 20th day. So the procedure for chicken feed preparation. Very good quality tuba-tuba leaves were used in making high quality feeds. The leaves were washed thoroughly and dried indoors until they were turned into powder when crumpled by the hand. This will take about 1 to 2 weeks. Mix with commercial feeds in terms of mass percentages as follows: 25% 50% and 75% tuba-tuba leaves. So after the leaves, so preparation of feed mixtures. After the leaves were collected, they were processed for cleaning in order to remove the dust and dirt. They were laid in newspaper and left unattended for 1 to 2 weeks of air drying in a shaded room. After air drying, the leaves were pulverized and mixed with commercial feeds with certain ratio for each treatment. Treatment A with 25% tuba-tuba leaves and 75% feeds. Treatment B with 50% tuba-tuba leaves and 50% feeds. Treatment C with 75% tuba-tuba leaves and 25% feeds. And the controlled setup with 100% commercial feeds. Each feed mixture had a volume of 200 ml. Each day the amount of feed mixture is added by 200 ml for the increasing amount of consumption of broiler chicken. So the amount of feed added to each of the setup is kept constant at 200 ml. So sampling technique. This study utilized complete sampling technique. All 12 subjects were subjected to weighing at the beginning of the study before any treatment was administered. The controlled group was given pure commercial feeds. Group A was given 25% dried tuba-tuba and 75% commercial feed. Group B was given 50% dried tuba-tuba leaves and 50% commercial feeds. Group C with 75% dried tuba-tuba leaves and 25% commercial feeds. After a period of 20 days, all subjects were weighed again. So at the beginning of the study, the chicks were weighed when they were 7 days old, and after the study, they were weighed when they were already 27 days old. So data gathering instrument. The data in the study will be gathered using the weighing scale. All subjects were weighed before and after the treatment. The weighing scale was calibrated prior to the weighing. Statistical tools. The gathered data will be tabulated, organized, analyzed, and packaged employing the special package for social sciences. The data will be computed and processed using the following statistical tools. The researchers used experimental statistical tools in solving and analyzing data. So number one is the mean. The mean was used to describe the effect of tuba-tuba leaves on the average weight of the chicken before and after treatment. So number two is one-way ANOVA. It was used to determine if the chicken fed with tuba-tuba has improved weight gain compared with the chicken fed with commercial feed alone. The critical F value was taken from the table. So you can see here the average weight of the chicken after the treatment. So you can see that controlled group has an average of 966.67. Treatment A with 1,350 grams on the average. Treatment B with 1,433 grams, and of course treatment C, which has the highest, 1,700 grams. So you can see that for treatment C with more tuba-tuba leaves fed to the chicken, you have more than 70% of increase. Okay, so you can see there from table 5 the different groups of treatment with the corresponding weights of chicken before and after the treatment. So you can see there now that before the treatment, the chickens were almost 100 grams each. And after the treatment, you can see that for the control group, the lowest is 900. Then for treatment A, the lowest is 1,300. For treatment B, the lowest is 1,350. And for treatment C, the lowest is 1,650. So you can see there the different chicken fed with 100% commercial feeds. Okay, we have the chicken fed with 25% tuba-tuba and 75% commercial feeds. So you have there the chicken with 50% tuba-tuba and 50% commercial feeds. Right now you have the chicken fed with 75% tuba-tuba leaves and 25% commercial feeds. Okay, so you can see there from the table, from the proximate analysis of the tuba-tuba leaves when they're fresh and where they're adjusted to moisture, when they're dried and when they're dried. You can see there now that the proximate analysis in terms of crude fat for the fresh leaves is 14.80% protein and 17.41% protein for the dried leaves. For the crude fat, you have 6.36% protein for the fresh leaves and 7.48% crude fat for the dried leaves. For carbohydrates, you have 34.18% carbohydrates for the tuba-tuba when fresh and 40.198% when it is dried. The ash content or the mineral content of your fresh tuba-tuba leaves is 9.38% and 11.03% when you have the dried leaves. Moisture or water content 24.97 or almost or at least at most 25% when the leaves are fresh and only 10% when the leaves are dried, I mean. The crude fiber is 10.31% for the fresh leaves and 12.13% for the dried leaves. Calcium is quite high, 3.89% for the fresh leaves and 4.57% for the dried leaves. Magnesium is 3.06% for the fresh leaves and 3.60% for the dried leaves. Potassium is 3.02% for the fresh leaves and 3.55% for the dried leaves. Zinc is 2.09 ppm for the fresh leaves and 2.46 ppm for the dried leaves. Iron is quite high, look at that, 85.19% ppm, 85.19 ppm for the fresh leaves and 100.19% for the dried leaves. You can see here that when you compare that to the commercial feeds, the calcium content is quite high for the commercial the calcium content is quite high for the tuba-tuba leaves. For the commercial feeds, it's only around 1%, but for the tuba-tuba, it's somewhat quite high at 3.60%. So the crude protein of the dried mixture is comparable to that of the crude protein found in your commercial feeds, which is 20%, but for our dried leaves, it's around 17.41%. The crude fat is also higher at 7.48%. Crude fiber is again higher at 12% versus that of 5% for your commercial feeds. Calcium is quite high here and moisture is around the same, but probably the calcium content of the leaves actually is very good because it helped neutralize excess acid in the body of the chicken, and so did magnesium, which is also very abundant in the leaves. It neutralized some of the acid present or the metabolic acid that the chicken produced, and therefore a healthier environment for the body of the chicken, and so therefore less sickness or less death for the chicken. So from that, let's now go to the conclusions and recommendations. From the results of the study, the researchers concluded that dried tuba-tuba leaves are very good feed additives. One Way ANOVA shows that for the study, the computed F value is The computed F value is 6.42. The critical value is 4.07. That means that at least one of the 4 means are not equal to each other, to the others. This is clearly demonstrated by the fact that the chicks nourished with 25% tuba-tuba and 75% chicken feed had 39.65% more weight than birds given commercial feeds only. Chicken nourished with 50% tuba-tuba and 50% commercial feeds had 48.27% increase in weight. Lastly, chicken given 75% tuba-tuba and 25% commercial feed had 75.86% higher mass than those given pure commercial feed preparations. The macronutrients present in the dried leaves provide much needed sustenance to the young bird. Of course, so the macronutrients gives it better performance since the chickens and the chickens are protected from illnesses. Okay, its high protein content nourishes the muscles and the organs, of course, since the proteins contain a lot of essential and non-essential amino acids needed by the chicken in the formation of muscles, bones, feathers, and all the other structural parts. Crude fats and carbohydrates provide needed energy for the movement, maintenance of body heat, and metabolism of organs. Of course, using the different energy pathways, the chicken is able to gain energy using the glycolysis and at the same time the electron transport system, to metabolize the fats and the carbohydrates. So calcium, potassium, iron, and other minerals maintain the normal rate of catabolism and anabolism. Of course, since calcium is essential for the functioning of the muscles, potassium is also essential for the functioning of the muscles, calcium for the heart, and of course iron in the maintenance of the oxygen level in the blood, and minerals such as zinc, which gives the bird some immunity. It gives the bird some sort of protection from diseases by increasing or by making it combat diseases. Okay, so phytochemicals provide effective protection against harmful microorganisms and oxidizing agents. Of course, the phytochemicals present in the plants help the chicken, since this control or this helps in preventing diseases by destroying harmful microorganisms such as Vibrio and Escherichia coli that can cause the intestines and the inner organs or the internal organs of the bird to have some serious diseases. And thus mortality and infection rates are reduced. So therefore, the birds will less likely to die and they will live. So the nutritious leaves yielded 6.36% more healthier life. Fat. Of course, the fat is needed for, and these are healthy fats. A more healthier life, loaded with, since it comes from plant origin, it is loaded with AHA and DHA. It is loaded with what you call the omega-3 fatty acids. 14.80% crude protein, which can be increased further to around 17 to 18% when you dry the leaves. Of course, the protein provides nourishment for the muscles. 34.18% carbohydrates. So carbohydrates provides energy, and it will not just provide energy for the birds, but good quality energy because it is also rich in fiber, which control the release of these carbohydrates. 9.38% ash. Again, the ash are the minerals, which are the following: calcium, potassium, iron, zinc, and all those needed minerals that help in maintaining the normal functioning of the organs and at the same time boost the immunity of the chicken. And of course, iron, which absorbs oxygen for the blood to nourish all the muscles of the chicken, muscles and other organs. Okay, magnesium, of course, is needed in different enzyme systems of the body. Zinc, potassium, of course, is needed for increasing or for normal functioning of the nervous system. Manganese and molybdenum. Yeah, these are all needed by the chicken. So the researchers recommend that the average proportion of fat to protein ratio of the birds be determined for each experimental setup. Of course, so the fat to protein ratio must be considered since it tells us that not all of the gain must come from protein, from weight gain from proteins, from weight gain from muscles. And at the same time, however, this will ensure that the weight gain is due to the increase in muscle tissues and not just the accumulation of adipose and fatty tissues. Of course, since you have the bird, the fattening or the increase in the weight may be just caused by the increase in the amount of fats in the chicken and the increase in the adipose tissues in which fats are deposited, especially in the skin. So also, the liver and kidneys must be examined for possible accumulations of toxins from the plants. Of course, we see that the plant contain a lot of other phytochemicals, so let us see if the liver and the kidneys contain some of these, toxic phytochemicals from the plant. So we cannot really avoid that because some plants contain alkaloids, which if concentrated in high amounts can be poisonous. So further, to lessen the cost of feeds, other materials such as oil, extracted coconut meat. So oil extracted coconut meat, the one that you get your gata or you get your coconut milk, that can be used. So instead of being thrown away or being given to the waste can, it can be used in making animal feeds. So the ground dried flesh and shell of snails. Of course, snails, the kohol is actually a pest on the rice field, so you can use it as an additive to the feed. So you actually use this for two purposes. You kill the pest that harms the rice, and at the same time you give your chicken their feeds. So they will be used as ingredients together with dried tuba leaves in preparing chicken feeds. So we can be creative with our feeds in such a way that we can actually formulate feeds that are not only good for our chicken but healthy for humans and animals and other animals as well. Okay, so aside from that, since this leaves are, they are producers, also you actually lower the vitamin content, the leaves carbon footprint analyzed, and at the same time utilized waste products to determine environment. So this one growth of the chicken, so this tuba can be if it had domesticated animals, the plants had overgrown, they can be a pest. Actually, this study is inspired by the native chicken, which just grows freely but in a healthy manner without added chemicals, just all lean meat, less fat, although sometimes difficult to cook, but just healthy lean meat without the added arsenic, that some poultry users or poultry producers in the United States add to the feeds of the chicken and antibiotics in such a way that the chicken will grow faster and with less diseases. So arsenic is a very, very potent poison, and at the same time it causes some cancers. So, well folks, you know that the incidence of cancer is increasing these days, so you could probably trace that to the chicken. Okay, because there have been some studies in the United States that chicken meat actually has some arsenic into it. So probably, or not just probably, it's from the antibiotics added to the chicken feed to make the chicken grow better. So we have found actually a substitute, a probable substitute for the antibiotics in feed preparation in the form of the tuba leaves in the dried form. So this study also give our group the understanding that we should preserve our forests and other natural environments. We should prepare our forests and other we should conserve our forests and other natural environment, since in them probably we have some plants of medicinal, nutritional, and other value that we can actually discover when we just put our heart into it, so that just save our forest, since they may be our shining beacon into the problems that society is facing today in terms of pollution, in terms of stronger antibiotics, or in terms of higher nutritional value for our domesticated animals. And of course, it may be it's time to say goodbye, since I have finished discussing to you this study, which is the dried tuba leaves used as antibacterial and antioxidant feed additive for chicken. So for now, thank you and have a nice day.
So thank you very much, Dr. Jobert, for sharing with us another scientific research. So it's time to introduce one of our plenary speakers. We had one before, Dr. Odocado. So we're down to the second one, and probably the last plenary speaker that we have. He's a college professor from Oman Tourism College, Muscat, Oman. Here's Dr. Don Anton R. Balida.
Ako ang 1,000 lang kuno participants mo, ti ko hindi, ti mo kuno.
Hello? Hi guys. Hello? Are you seeing me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so can you guys see me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to check the audio also of my computer. I wonder if you guys can hear me clearly, or would you rather prefer that I should use the head now?
Loud and clear, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, I
Crystal clear.
thank you. I should like to use the headset instead because in case there is a buffer of the signal later on, you can still hear me or I can hear it. All right. Um, good afternoon. Still morning in Muscat City. So in our way, I would like to greet everybody. Salam alaikum. Just to set the ambience in the context of an
Malaikum
Arabic.
salam.
Malaikum assalam. Thank you very much. I really would like to walk you through the place where I am right now. If I'm going to direct the camera, just very briefly, you would see Muscat City actually from my window. And that's a very good morning greeting that I used to get every day. Yeah, but without delaying any further, I just would like to take to thank rather Sir Gabi and Sir Romy for this opportunity. You know, when an opportunity like this comes, it's difficult to turn down. And I realize also how hard it is to put together a conference of this magnitude. But it is also harder to organize a presentation, especially when you are nursing a virus in your system. Because I just recently diagnosed positive with COVID-19. It was unfortunate, but it gives me a lot of, it really gave me a lot of realization. Thirdly, it's even hardest if you are listening to the speakers. I was following all the presentations since yesterday, and I'm very impressed with the variety of subjects and researchers by different presenters. I promise I'm not going to bore you with my presentation. I will try as much as I can in order to be brief and concise as possible. Let me, sorry. I'm sharing the screen with you. And please bear with me because I am not that adept in Zoom. We are using different platforms in our online classes here in Oman. Are you seeing this? Please acknowledge.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
We're seeing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
All right.
yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. I would like to introduce my co-authors in this study. There are three of us who collaborated to do this because this is a global study. It's kind of huge for us. So I got help from my colleague at Oman Tourism College, Dr. Ana Sheila Crisostomo, because she's teaching IT in the undergraduate program. And this is her field. This is her expertise. Along with us, there's another fellow from De La Salle University, Manila, Dr. Rigi Gustilo, who is currently a faculty member of the engineering department. So the three of us came up with this collaboration on the study on blended learning. This topic was so hot in the past 6-7 months when we were all caught up in the middle of the pandemic. And as a backgrounder, it all started with the idea on how we should understand the nature and the concept of blended learning. And to operationally define, for the purpose of this study, we adopted the definition given by Lawless in 2019, which says it is a combination of in-person, that means physical, or face-to-face in another term, and technology-based e-learning methods. So technology-based because we use gadgets in order to engage in the other part of the blended learning system. So one part is in person, another part is the use of technology. As early as March 2020, we all wake up with an unprecedented news that all schools, colleges, and universities will shut down. It was to protect every stakeholder from contamination, and most HEIs around the world decided to deliver the teaching purely online. And then, as soon as we finished the semester, everybody was in a rush. We are like all trying to accomplish one thing, that is to submit the grades, to make sure that the graduation, the students who are graduating would be able to graduate. And during those times, we are all preoccupied by so many challenges, so many questions, but we never really had a chance to quit, to ask ourselves about blended learning. This is why we decided to explore, to investigate in terms of readiness. Where are the students in this scenario? Where are the teachers? And how about the institution who's going to deliver the program? And the questions are they ready? Are the facilities sufficient? And what is the current state of our teachers, students, and even institutions? Where are they at this time? Come September, come October, when we will start teaching using the blended learning. Please bear with me if I may be insignificant to your current system right now, because I understand that you are using the modular method, okay? But most colleges and most universities around the world, and since this is a global study, we are using blended learning, which is partly physical and partly online. Should they decide to go online, are they equipped? And can they sustain the online learning program? Are they able to maintain? Are the students able to engage? So hence this study was founded. In preparation for most universities and most colleges for the spring semester in September, we wanted to do the study, because originally the topic that I'm going to present to you, it's IT resources as requisites to blended learning, is an offshoot of the main study. Our main study, which is currently under peer review for publication in a journal, is entitled Attitudes of Higher Education Teachers and Students Towards Blended Learning Amid COVID-19 Pandemic. And in order to establish the attitude, we have set the variables. And one of those variables is the IT resources, because we believe that no matter how good the program is, if teachers, if institutions, if students are not equipped, if they have inadequacies in the gadgets, in tools, there's no blended learning would take place. And so we got IT resources requisites to blended learning, and this is the focus of my study. Before I proceed, any question? Are you all okay there? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
good. Thank you so much. Let me drink.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot. Okay, so the aim of the study is to determine and to explore where are the institutions right now? What's the status of the institution? How about the students? What do they feel about going online? Are the sentiments of the majority the same across the institutions or around the world? And we want to know if what really are the basic IT resources? What are the gadgets? What are the tools that the students have, that the teachers have? And if not, how are they going to enhance them? How are you going to, how much they're going to invest on them? And then if we are to offer certain IT tools or resources, how the stakeholder is going to view them in terms of level of importance. Because for me, what's important for me is my laptop. The other would be they don't have laptop, but they manage to attend classes online using their smartphone. So we want to know that if they are offered to them, how they're going to rate them in terms of level of importance. And then also, what's the relationship between IT resources and the importance on their intention or willingness to engage on the behavior of the teachers and the students? Okay, so we know that these are the gadgets, and we know that these are important. And if we're going to see the relationship, how they differ, how can we differentiate between teachers and students? How these resources influence their willingness to engage. And so we came up with this concept, the framework of our study. We wanted to know the level of importance and the intention to engage. How are they influenced by the different IT resources? Because there's an intertwining relationship between importance or level of importance and their intention to engage based on the different IT resources. Just like any scientific study, we also develop the methodology, and we use the descriptive design in order to describe the population and the phenomenon. The phenomenon here is that we would like to know how important are the IT resources in order to engage in learning system of online system of learning. And then we use the quantitative approach to gather the primary data in order to describe this phenomenon. And we wanted to do a global study that can go beyond our coverage, our normal coverage. So we actually had a lot of participants from the Philippines to as far as Africa. We have also participants from Europe. And then we use the snowball sampling, okay? Because snowballing is that you only identify a number or few participants, and then these participants who have joined your study can refer to their friends, okay? Until the number will increase. And then we collected primary data using the questionnaire. And this is pandemic. We're talking about no physical contact, maintain social distance. So we put up the questionnaire online. And then the link was sent to the target participants. And then the demographic shows that there are a total of 400 participants. But in reality, there are as much as 420 respondents. The 20 of those were discarded or excluded because they were used for the pilot study of the questionnaire. And then the majority are the participants are students. which is 58%, and the rest, 42%, are teachers. We asked the respondents to rate the IT resources in terms of level of importance. And this is the main range and the verbal interpretation, from very important to low importance. And based on literature review and the transcripts of teachers, my colleagues, we are able to identify the different IT resources. And there are a total of 19 of them, and they are categorized as gadgets. So 7 gadgets, including desktop computer, laptop, notebook, smartphone, video camera, netbook, tablet, and smart TV. While on the internet as an IT resources or IT resources element, we cover Wi-Fi in general, and then wired internet connection set, Wi-Fi router, Internet Explorer, search engine, and internet speed, which is very important. And then for software, we have Microsoft Office, computer software programs, and then nowadays, we haven't added it yet because at that time, we don't know what platform most institutions are using. But what I'm aware of, our institution and most of the universities and colleges in Oman are using MS Teams. In the Philippines, Zoom is very popular, like the one that we are using now. Others, there's also webinar, and so on and so forth. As we speak, there are a lot of technologies being developed, and it's going to be out soon in the market. And in e-learning tools, there are 4 of them: video conferencing, okay, multimedia functions, games. This is not the Mobile Legend games. We're talking about interactive games or online games, social media, and also Moodle. I'm not sure if you are familiar with Moodle, but this is the platform, and we call it e-learning tool, to deliver the deliverables to our students. And students also upload their submissions on Moodle. We download them back, write the feedback, and send back to the students. So, and the last IT resource is not a gadget, it's not a software, it is economic capability. And this is where most students are facing dilemma right now. Because if you are using your smartphone and there is no Wi-Fi internet at home, you will be forced to use your data. And you know how much it costs, right? It's very expensive. So all of these are actually influenced by the last IT resource, which is the economic capability. So we have identified 19. Let's see how the respondents rated them individually. Okay, there you go. Suit yourselves. Out of 19 IT tools, 13 of them were rated the same way by the respondents. The 400 respondents, they rated these 13 IT sources in the same way. All right? So laptop, very important. So remember, earlier I showed you that this is the top rating. Very important. Smartphone, very important. Wi-Fi, wired internet. They prefer wired internet as well as Wi-Fi router. You know, this simply means that either internet connection, either method, as long as there is Wi-Fi. And of course, internet. Microsoft Office. The majority of them are Microsoft. I don't know, but I'm using Apple OS. And then Internet Explorer, video conferencing. Yes, is somebody wanted to speak? I don't mind. All right. And then internet speed, economic capability, and social media. So all of these are 13 over 19. So what then? What's the implication? The implication of having a majority of the IT resources being rated in the same way by both participants, students and teachers, are these. Number one, there is commonality in the responses, as shown by the majority of them with similar importance. Number two, there is familiarity of IT resources. Otherwise, if they are not familiar, they would just say neutral, you know, or no response at all. And there's an obvious sense of experience and exposure. How could you rate something if you have not experienced it anyway? That is just a pretty common sense. So this shows that our respondents are familiar, they have experience using those gadgets or tools, and they have the exposure. And then they have invested into one or some of them. At this point, you know, most houses are already connected to Wi-Fi or internet. And then they are skillful. They are confident already in using these tools. And this last implication is that when you are prescribing something for your students to use, in the beginning, in the initial stage of online class, allow them to stay in their gadget's comfort zone. Don't require anything else. You know, it takes a while to, for example, master the functionality and the features of a new gadget. So don't be prescriptive at this point. Let them progress, and later on, when you demand for higher, for example, resolution camera or higher memory gadgets, that could be later on. But in the early stage of the online class, let them stay in there, whatever they have. Allow them to use it. Don't make it a fuss, you know. Don't make it like the only way towards engagement in on online learning. And then, how about which IT resources they did not agree with? Okay, there are 6 of them. Okay, number one is desktop computer. The teachers rated very important, while students moderately important, 1 notch lower than the teachers. Video camera, very important, moderately important. And I'm going to discuss the implications later. Tablet, teachers said moderately important. Students, no, they have no response at all. Smart TV, moderately important for teachers. Students don't find it significant on their learning. Multimedia functions, very important, moderately important. And games, teachers said moderately important, students said no. But actually there are games that are ready. You just have to source them and share the link to your students. What do they imply then? The implications of this are, number one, students are more mobile than teachers, so they prefer laptop to desktop. In other words, most of you, I assume, you are using laptop, and then laptop is more convenient than desktop. Then students refuse to use the camera because why? They are shy to show their face. Okay, and they are conscious of their looks. And for for us, we understand that there are cultural reasons for that, okay, and even religious reasons. The girls, they whatever you do, they would really refuse to show their face on the camera, but not much in the Philippines. But you see, we're talking about online, and as much as possible, we want to establish a virtual interaction, like a face-to-face in a normal setting. So open your camera when you would like to speak to your teacher, or should the teacher want to speak to the students. Most tablets are Wi-Fi driven and can't use data for the internet unless if your tablet has a SIM card inlet in it, so you can use it so that you can use your data. And smart TV is restrictive. You cannot manipulate it with your hand. You can only share the audio and the video, but not manipulable. So it is restrictive, and students, even teachers, may not like it. Multimedia, not popular with students. We're talking about audio-visual support, like you make a video or animated materials. Games can be interactive, but neutral response from students might mean lack of experience, and therefore there is no appreciation on their effectiveness. But we can try. I always try these games online. There's so many of them. And then earlier we asked a question: what is the difference between the level of importance of IT resources between teachers and students? The results show that the independent t-test, t-value of -6.36 and a p-value of less than 0.001, it's an implication that teachers place higher importance on IT resources than students. And because of that, the null hypothesis is rejected. What are the reasons for this? Teachers' economic reliance. Of course, teachers place higher value of the IT resources than students because they have salaries. They are able to buy or to acquire the latest model of gadget or tools. Or teachers have better access to IT resources in the college or in the university than the students. Students simply rely on their own personal resources. And then in terms of experience, maturity shows that teachers are more experienced, more exposed than students, and therefore their level of appreciation is higher than students. And they're mature, and teachers have a higher sense of purpose than students, okay? Because you don't only teach, you must understand that teachers don't only teach one subject or one group of students. A teacher may be teaching one subject to a number of groups, and of different levels. And based on findings, we concluded that the majority of similarities of response in terms of level of importance is a confirmation that we are right in the beginning of identifying those IT resources. Because the majority response of similar level is a validation. Number two, that the IT resources can influence the respondents' willingness to engage in blended learning. The more skillful they are, the better the gadgets they have, the more willing they are to engage in blended learning program. And this, as the old adage says, anything new always excites the students. Curiosity, as they say. This curiosity can increase the learner's motivation to try something new, something out of the ordinary. And then the level of IT skills influences the choice of IT tools. Of course, why would I buy a new gadget that I am not familiar with, that I don't know about? But my need is urgent, and it takes time to also understand and master the functionality of a new gadget. It requires tedious academic advising due to some students' poor language skills and difficulties in improving concept and thinking skills. In other words, the online class could be a lot of work for the teacher, because students may not be able to understand the concept at one setting only, at one time. They need follow-up. And because of that, teachers are working twice or thrice as much as they normally do. For instance, I got emails even in wee hours of the night, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock early morning. I got emails from students, and they expect teachers to respond right away. The fear of technology is also found out that some teachers and students are fear of new technology. And because of that, they develop resistance. They don't want anything new because they are scared that they might not be able to manipulate, they might be able to deliver. And because of this, we consider this factor as a barrier. And also, some participants are not interested. Okay? Why is that? They're not interested because they don't understand the benefits of engaging. Instead, they stay or remain passive as a simple listener. And it's hard to tell for teachers sometimes if whether the students are still there. Okay? And skepticism is another reason. What would I learn from that? Anyway, I can just read it later on or watch the recorded video later on. And also unfamiliarity of technology. They got bored, they got disengaged because they don't know how to use the technology. It takes training, it takes experience also. And based on this conclusion, the following are formulated. Each should set IT infrastructure as a priority. Okay? You cannot expect teachers to deliver if you have a poor network connectivity and you don't have the right infrastructure. Nowadays, like I said, desktop is no longer as effective as it was before. Okay? We have to be mobile so that we can teach anywhere, any time of the day. So laptop is more convenient. In other words, it doesn't matter how much budget or how much investment you put into something. Just make sure that that is the right technology. Teachers and students also are investing, their personal resources, their personal money to buy new gadgets. Some of them, they would go for a higher or better camera resolution, fast connectivity, and also the battery is long lasting, right? And then workshops must also be provided before any new technology is offered to the stakeholders, to the students and the teachers. You can't introduce something and expect that they are going to be there's going to be an output. You have to provide support. And we recommend some studies to incorporate also other variables than those 5 that we have already identified. Even in IT resources only, there are new technologies going out now, and probably it's also essential to incorporate them in future studies. But the big question now is how. Before I proceed to the last slide, any question there, please?
None, sir. Your study is very timely and relevant.
Thank you very much, Cherry. All right. I know you are tired and it's almost like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the Philippines. It's only 12:30 here in Muscat. So what is what are the essentialities? How this study is important or contribute to the society? A study like this could raise awareness, you know, on the unprecedented impact of pandemic. There is no words that can describe how much pandemic has affected each and every one of us. I just came out from that. You know, I still have probably in my system right now, but I was one of the lucky enough to survive. And also, it provides a chance for us to voice out our concerns. A simple survey like this, you're given a chance to express, you know, and to tell us, to share us. Where are you at this time of the pandemic? What are your preparedness? What's your readiness at this point? And then it also provides a springboard, you know, something of a wider scope, of a wider studies in future. You can lift this study and elevate it into the next level. So these are the contributions to the society that I can identify right now. And then I had a chance to attend a workshop last week by Dr. Dipra. He's a faculty member of Washington State University. And I wanted to share this with you because it has something to do with online teaching, on online learning, and at the same time, how we use the gadgets, how we use the technology to our advantage in order to be effective teachers or effective presenters. You know, in an online class, you are equipped. You have the participants with you. Now, how are you going to be an effective presenter in a way that you can keep them in your position, that no one is sleeping, no one is doing something else. Students may be with you, but you don't know where they are. What are they thinking right now? And I'm sure many of you are also befitting me the same experience. He called it ropes, and R stands for review. In an online class, begin your session with review. Warm-up activity. It's always essential. Never jump into the topic without actually perking them up first. Okay, how are the students? Are they with you? Review the previous lesson. Okay, it's one way also to refresh, because one lesson is connected with another or with the next. And then O stands for overview. What are you going to talk about in this session? What they can expect from this class? To make them predict, to make them psychologically prepared. Tell them what is going to take place. And P is presentation, okay? They are already with you, and they are already alive, and then you have already told them what they can expect from this class. Then present your your lesson. However, how do you present also determines the interest that the students will bear, that the students will pay attention to you. So present in chunks instead of talking straight 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Pause, make the students quip, ask questions. Okay? Don't be too excited to finish, and maybe you are also as excited as the students to finally get this class over. But that's not the way, you know. If you really want students to remain with you, present your in chunks, okay? In chunks, not in its entirety all at once. And then after your class, it's time to assess how much did they comprehend. Is there in told them earlier. Provide a head up also for the next session so that they can make early readings, or they can study earlier, because you already make them aware of what they can expect in the next session. According to the studies in the US, the retention span of students is between 6 and 7 minutes only. We're talking about an online class. During the first 6 and 7 minutes, the students are all ears with you, all eyes with you. But after that, they may be with you, but their mind is somewhere else. So I'd like to end my presentation with that note, and thank you very much. So any question? Anyone? Now you're scaring me.
So thank you very much, Doc, for sharing something insightful and something timely, especially in the period of pandemic. I'm sure most of our participants have really learned a lot of things from you. Keep safe as well, Doc. Thank you.
Same here. My pleasure. Thank you very much, guys, and be safe.
Keep safe and God bless you too. Thank you. So nobody from our participants have questions for Dr. Balida before he finally says goodbye to everybody. Any questions, guys, from our participants? We're down to the last research presenter from Assumption Iloilo Incorporated, Philippines. Our next presenter is Sir Ken A. Tandang, who's going to talk about COVID-19 pandemic.
Hi, good day. I am Mr. Ken Angeles Tamdang, and today I will present to you our research paper entitled Perceived Stress Due to COVID-19 Pandemic Among Employed Professional Teachers. Together with me in writing this paper is Dr. Ryan Michael F. Oducado of West Visayas State University, as well Dr. Judith S. Bacal of Northern Negros State College of Science and Technology, and Dr. Romy B. Moralista of Guimaras State College. COVID-19 is a novel viral infection that began in China towards the end of 2019 and was declared as a public health emergency of international concern in January 2020. Despite efforts to contain the virus, the number of cases is still rising. The Philippines is one of the countries in Southeast Asia most affected by the widespread transmission of COVID-19. As of November 11, 2020, there are 50,810,763 confirmed cases of COVID-19 around the world, and 401,416 cumulative cases in the Philippines as to the data provided by the Department of Health. The turbulent situation brought by COVID-19 has produced a worldwide crisis with multifaceted dimensions, and stress has become a major concern since the COVID-19 outbreak. So, understanding stress is important because prolonged stress is associated with poor outcomes of mental and physical health. This study explored the perceived stress level among licensed professional teachers in the Philippines. For the methods, a descriptive correlational research design was used in this study. Data were collected among 105 licensed professional teachers enrolled in the master's program in one state college in the Philippines. All 130 licensed professional teachers enrolled in the master's program were invited to participate in the survey. However, only 105 selected teachers responded to the survey. That makes the response rate 80.77%. The COVID-19 Perceived Stress Scale by Pedroso Popo was adopted and was the main measure used in this study to specify the stress associated with COVID-19 during the last month. The COVID PSS-10 has a reported Cronbach's alpha equal to 0.86. Self-rated health and perceived risk were assessed following a single item scale. The demographic variables of the participants were also collected to include their age, sex, marital status, and monthly salary. They were likewise asked of the presence of COVID-19 case near their residence. For the data collection procedure, a web-based survey to determine the perceived stress of teachers due to the COVID-19 pandemic was conducted in the last week of August 2020. Participants were reminded that proceeding with the survey implies consent to participate in the study. Statistical analysis was performed with the aid of SPSS version 23.0 software. Categorical variables were expressed in frequencies and percentages. Means, standard deviations, and medians were also computed to describe the data. For this analysis, Mann-Whitney-U and Kruskal-Wallis test were used to determine differences, while Sperman's law was performed to test for correlation. The statistical significance was set at p lesser than 0.05. Moving on to the results of this study, Table 1 shows the median age of participants was 33.92 years old. The majority of teachers were female, married, and were receiving a monthly salary of between 20,000 and 29,900. More than half, 59%, reported no presence of COVID-19 positive case near the resident at the time of the survey. The self-report health of teachers had a mean of 4.33 and the perceived risk of getting infected with COVID-19 was 2.33. Display in Table 2 shows that 31.4% experienced low stress, 61% had moderate stress, and 7.6% had high COVID-19 perceived stress. The composite score in COVID-19 PSS-10 was 17.27. During crisis times like the current COVID-19 pandemic, adverse stress states are commonly reported. A Colombian study reported a similar proportion of adults in this study disclosing high perceived stress related to COVID-19. On the other hand, 9.6% of Iranian medical doctors, 15% of Colombian adults, and 30.2% of Saudi Arabian students registered high levels of stress. The proportion of participants scoring high perceived stress related to COVID-19 in this study is relatively lower when compared to other studies. Nevertheless, it cannot be ignored that majority of teachers still reported moderate stress related to COVID-19. Table 3 shows that females experience a significantly higher COVID-19 stress compared to males. This result is in line with those previous studies conducted in China, Saudi Arabia, Italy, and other web-based survey wherein females had significantly higher stress level than males. This may be attributed to biological and hormonal changes, socio-cultural factors, the expression of emotions and thoughts regarding social situations, and sex differences in coping with stress. On the other hand, there were no significant differences in the COVID-19 perceived stress based on marital status, monthly salary, and presence of COVID-19 case near their residence. Table 4 shows that there was a significant relationship between self-rated health and COVID-19 perceived stress. Researchers in the past have well studied the association between health and stress. It was demonstrated in this study that self-rated health was negatively correlated with COVID-19 stress. The same result was found among undergraduate students from Singapore and elderly sample in Indonesia. COVID-19 is often more severe among those with health conditions. So participants in this study who consider themselves as having poorer health status may experience greater stress brought by the pandemic. Also, Table 4 shows that there was a significant positive relationship between the perceived risk of getting infected with COVID-19 and perceived stress associated with COVID-19. This is relatively consistent with other studies that investigated the association between mental health outcomes and perceived risk during the COVID-19 pandemic. The higher the risk of getting COVID-19, the greater is the stress experienced by the participants. On the other hand, this study found no significant relationship between age and perceived stress related to COVID-19. In conclusion, this study highlights the need for pandemic-related psychological approaches and mental health interventions, and that the psychosocial aspects of outbreaks among the teachers must not be neglected. Also, the result of this study suggests that future research could pay attention to decreasing stress and improving psychological well-being to lessen the impact of stress on health. Teachers may need stress reduction to improve their mental well-being and alleviate the effect of stress on their health. The result of this survey could serve as baseline data to investigate if stress level grows over time, in conjunction with the development of the COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, this research provides fresh insights on the psychological response to pandemic among teachers, which must be considered by health and educational authorities, together with the epidemiological facets of this pandemic. That's it for our presentation. Thank you for listening. Always be reminded to wear your mask, always sanitize, and stay at home.
So again, thank you very much, Sir Ken Tamdang from Assumption Elite Incorporated Philippines. Well, it has been a great day for everybody, for all our participants. We have had great research presenters. And again, we have some very important announcements to make. First one, please visit our Facebook account, Allpre, from time to time for further announcement. Plus, tomorrow it's going to be another day, our third day. The link for the third day will be sent to your respective emails. And then there will be evaluation form until midnight. So again, if you have any questions related to the presentations of our research presenter, feel free to post it on our chat, probably on our Facebook account. So again, enjoy the rest of the day. Keep safe, everyone.
Thank you and God bless everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, guys.
Thank
See you
you.
again
Bye-bye.
tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Be
you,
safe.
sir.
See you
Salamat.
tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Salamat, sir. Bye.
Very much.
Thank you, presenters. Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Thank you, everyone. Salamat.
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. God bless.
Congratulations, presenters.
Tapos, masalamat.
So much, everyone.
Takot ka na?
Thank you, everyone.
Sige, mag...
Thank you, everyone.
Ito, madama.
Laban.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Hi, Ma'am Myrna Plantig.